Hello and welcome back to another video. In this one I'm going to talk about the Witch's Grave, which is in Old City Cemetery. Old City Cemetery is the oldest public cemetery in Tallahassee with an estimated 1,540 interments. There are Union soldiers buried here who fell at Civil War battles fought at Olustee and at Natural Bridge. Their Confederate counterparts rest here too. So do other veterans of that war and of other wars. There are politicians and working people. There are Catholics, Jews, and Protestants, and people whose faith is not known. There are slave owners buried in Old City Cemetery. There are graves of enslaved people, free people of color, and African Americans of all stations who lived in the city after slavery times. There are elaborate grave markers and simple ones, ones which have stood the tests of time and weather and occasional vandalism, and ones which have not. There are unmarked graves as well. All of these lie among oak and other trees, which have themselves seen more than a few decades. There are graves here, though, just as many, if not more, than the ones marked by stones and guarded by wrought iron fences. This is the area where enslaved people, free people of color, and African Americans in Reconstruction and Jim Crow times were buried. Their markers were most often made of wood and so did not survive. There are some with stones which last, however, they are not as isolated as they seem. The Witch's Grave. The grave of Elizabeth Budd Graham is somewhat of an enigma to Tallahassee residents and visitors. Rumors of her witchcraft make the grave a popular destination for anyone visiting Tallahassee's Old City Cemetery, making it the most visited grave in the whole cemetery. In 1889, the real Elizabeth Budd Graham passed away when she was only 23 years old. She left a husband, Alexander Graham, and two young children. Elizabeth was the daughter of David and Florence Wilson. She was born in 1866, married Alexander in 1887, and then died in 1889 from heart disease. Her grave is a sumptuous example of funerary architecture. It's a tall obelisk with ornate carvings surrounded by a low stone wall. The stone is gray French granite, with the vases being granite. It would have been one of the most or more expensive tombs in Tallahassee in the late 1880s, showcasing her family wealth and esteem. It also follows the popular funerary design of the 1880s, making it a great example of funerary of the Gilded Age. The rumor of Elizabeth being a witch was not begun until decades after her death. There is no extant documentation that associates Elizabeth with any witchcraft, yet the theory is that she is a double-dead white witch who bewitched a wealthy man into marrying her, and when she passed, he built this elaborate tomb to her. This is mostly from the poem on the tomb and the gravestone face direction. Believers of Elizabeth's witchery claim that Poe's poem alludes to the power via a few of the lines. The lines, "The spirit flow forever and floats on the Stygian river," are meant to imply that a witch's spirit is unable to cross the Stygian river of death and is trapped between life and death. The line, "For her the doubly dead," intimates that a witch must be killed twice, while the queenliest dead refers to a witch being queens of the dead. Most likely the inscription came from a popular poem and nothing else. The gravestone does face west, which believers of Elizabeth's tie to being a witch point out as a sign of disgrace. The claim is that all Christian burials faced east. This is untrue. Her grave does face west, but this is not a sign of ill respect. Many other tombs in the cemetery also face west, as it was quite common. The motif at the top of her obelisk denotes no cross, no crown, which is usually a sign of good standing and respect. What really drove people to believe Bessie was a witch was the poem from Edgar Allan Poe, which supposedly makes a few references to witchcraft. Broken is the golden bowl refers to the witch's cauldron, which Bessie is broken since she has passed away. A saintly soul floats on the Stygian river refers to the river Styx, which a witch cannot cross in death. If she is a witch, then Bessie's spirit is doomed to remain in limbo in the afterlife. The queenliest dead refers to witches being the queens of dead. And finally, the doubly dead makes a nod to the fact that witches must be killed twice. Her grave attracts many fellow witches to this day. They practice rituals, cast spells, and come to Bessie to ask her spirit for help. Some say that a ghost even hangs around Bessie's grave. The spirit of a young woman has been seen sobbing in front of the gravesite. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see y'all next time.